Good evening, and welcome to the 12th TV Global Sustainability Film Awards.
Super. It's great to see so many people here. Actually, I'm really delighted to see Cheryl, because Cheryl and I have a relationship. That sounds something quite exciting, doesn't it, really? But it actually was quite exciting. We had a relationship for 15 years when she was running TVE, and I was then the Director of Communications for the UN Environment Programme, which was one of the founders of TVE, but also we became a sort of client in a sense. We collaborated on many films. So, Cheryl, it's fantastic to see you. I want to thank TVE a lot for the work they've done. They've really grown these awards, the Global Sustainability Film Awards, fantastically over recent years, and the numbers here in the audience are actually testament to that. We Don't Have Time, which is who I work for. They're a TV company based in Stockholm. We are going to be restreaming these awards on the 9th of November. So if you miss anything, maybe you dropped your wine glass in the middle of all this and you're down there somewhere looking for it, then you can watch it all in full on the 9th of November. So also, you all have to cheer this evening and clap a lot, because We Don't Have Time is a reach over 160 countries around the world, so let's make a lot of noise. 2023 has been a very good year for this event. In total, 94 films were submitted from 36 countries. The lion's share came from the US, the UK, and India, but it was absolutely fantastic to see films from Chile, for example, from Brazil, from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, China, Indonesia, New Zealand, Ukraine, and many, many more. And I think it's at this moment that I should really thank the 13 members who were shortlisting all these films and then passing them on to the 7 members of the final judging jury, for which I was also the chair. Before we go to the awards themselves, I'd just like to make a few remarks. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't just possess a pair of extremely funky trousers, but they also know that I was the environment correspondent of the Times newspaper in the 1990s, covering issues on sustainability, climate change, renewable energy, before becoming the Director of Communications and the spokesperson for the UN Environment Programme, which is headquartered in Nairobi for the entire world, and then moving to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in 2014, which is in Bonn in Germany, where I worked on getting the Paris Climate Change Agreement, and in fact my sins was actually the spokesperson for that landmark treaty of 2015. And I kind of thought by 2023 that we could look, basically to shut down the Global Sustainability Film Awards. You might say, why, Nick? They're fantastic awards, because I kind of thought that maybe it would have played its part with the rest of the world in getting the rest of the world to go steaming full ahead on sustainability, truly sustainable development path, and also delivering that net zero climate safe future that we all need, every man, woman and child. So I thought there'd be no need for the awards by 2023. I mean, we've got the Paris Agreement, and surely that was going to deal with those problems. But it seems to me that despite all that, sadly things keep getting in the way of the ambition to deliver a truly sustainable world and a climate-safe world. And I have to say that the latest absurdity being, of course, the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's announcement to greenlight drilling in a 300 million barrel Rosebank North Sea field. We know the scientific consensus is absolutely clear. There is enough fossil fuel production on this planet right now to fry the planet and its people many times over. We don't need any more oil or gas or coal. We have to keep it in the ground. Any sane or sensible leader would, of course, be sticking, if not rapidly enhancing, the deadline for getting off fossil fuels and massively boosting renewable energy further and faster. But in a highly populist rhetoric, the Prime Minister used to wrap the Union Jack around his announcement of a massive new oil field. And by the way, if you read the Financial Times today, even more licenses coming to drill in the North Sea. And he talked about energy security, and he talked about loads of money for the British economy and its people. forgetting to perhaps point out that not only is he putting massively at risk the UK's climate targets and throwing UK leadership on renewable energy and climate change under a bus, but the fact that the Norwegian oil company that has got the job will sell the oil on the international markets, and we as taxpayers will be subsidising the drilling with billions and billions of British pounds. Is it not a bit like the dinosaurs subsidising incoming comets? Sadly, Mr. Sunak's government is not alone. Despite numerous pledges by the G7 group of nations, the G20 group of nations, governments globally are subsidising fossil fuels directly to the tune of about $1 trillion a year. And according to the International Monetary Fund, when you look at the damage these fossil fuel subsidised, or the subsidised fossil fuels do around the world with extreme weather increasingly, and air pollution, toxic air pollution that damages people's health and kills people, we are actually subsidising to the tune of $6 or $7 trillion a year the fossil fuel industry. And you also need to reflect of where these subsidised fossil fuels go. They're not just into petrol tanks of our cars and our trucks. They also make fertilisers cheap and cheerful. And new virgin plastic cheaper as well, because they all come from oil and many other products too. So as well as lining the pockets, of course, of the anti-climate action lobbyists and some politicians taking the fossil fuel companies' shilling. Without fossil fuel subsidies, regenerative agriculture, which is the best bet we have right now to bring sustainability and create good, healthy food, and also help farmers in terms of their costs, regenerative agriculture could move far faster. And all this recycling of plastic and reuse of plastic and the search for alternatives could win much faster over conventional plastics. Fortunately, renewable energy globally is doubling every perhaps 2.5 to 3 years. So they will achieve and have already achieved exponential growth despite this perverse and unfair playing field. So we will win. But the urgency now is not the direction, it is the speed and it is the scale of hitting the climate targets on time. And with less than a month ago to the opening of the UN conference in Dubai, COP28, the UN Climate Conference, we must urge world leaders and the private sector to back a full and final phase out of fossil fuels on a clear and sensible timetable. And I would urge you to support this by actually writing to your governments, if it's the UK government or if it's another government, and your business leaders affirming that that's what you want too. If you have internalized the science of climate change, you know we are running a very high risk. And if you're in Dubai, please pass by the We Don't Have Time studios. We'll be in the blue diplomatic zone. Say hi, and if you want to come in and do an interview about what you want world leaders to do in Dubai, which is to phase out, not phase down fossil fuels, then I'm happy to see you and do an interview with you. Okay, back to the films. Let me finally thank all the filmmakers and the organisations and the people who are featured in these wonderful films. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the antidote to pessimism and should inspire everyone here tonight and everyone watching from outside on the restreaming of this evening to actually step up their game on sustainability and on climate action. These films are in many ways just a glimpse of the extraordinary number of ever-growing people and movements around the world who say we can do it and we will do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
And now for our first award category of the night, the Young Filmmaker Award. This is awarded to a filmmaker who is under 35 and who has brought to the screen underrepresented voices for sustainability or issues related to sustainability. The films were judged both by the quality of their filmmaking and the significance and credibility of the story depicted. Let's have a look at the shortlisted films.
Once we determined what makes a good reef, we were able to design something that would look like what we defined as a good reef.
When we first saw rocks fall in the ocean, it really was extremely gratifying to see the project come to fruition. It really was a culmination of over a decade of work by our entire team, and the benefits of the reef will last for decades.
We came back and it was just covered in fish. It's something where you've drawn it and you've put it on maps and you've designed it yourself, and you're still sitting there thinking, this is immense.
The primary goal of restoring this reef was to enhance fish production. We wanted to see a large number of fish and a growing number of fish each year. We wanted to see that the reef was actually producing life rather than just attracting it from somewhere else. And very early on, we were getting good indication that that is exactly what's happening. But we weren't expecting to see a whole lot attached to the rocks in a short period of time. And that's, I think, the most surprising thing so far, is that life attached itself to these rocks very, very quickly. They are full-fledged kelp forests within 18 months of it being built.
Soy John Careaga, soy activista medioambiental y cofundador de una marca de moda sostenible que se llama Basque, que cree en la moda como herramienta de transformación social. Desde pequeñito he tenido el privilegio de vivir en una zona increíble, en un pueblito vasco que se llama Zumaya, que me ha hecho estar muy en contacto con la naturaleza y que me ha hecho apreciar también el sitio en el que vivo. Al ver cómo lo estamos destruyendo, pues me ha hecho ser parte del cambio, ¿no? Pues encontrando toda la basura marina que podemos encontrar en estas zonas naturales, al final te hace replantear muchísimas cosas y no te queda otra que ser parte del cambio si quieres ver eso de otra manera.
Por el cambio climático se ha visto reducido las zonas de ovoposición. Le hablamos las zonas de las playas, el pleamar de las franjas costeras, en donde las tortugas lamentablemente ya no tienen playas donde poder poner sus huevos. Tienen que poner sus huevos muy cerca del mar cuando es marea baja. Ellas hacen algo que se llama una cloaca, que no es otra cosa más que una estrategia para poder hacer la formación de su nido en una forma de cántaro. Entonces, mamá tortuga, cuando cubre el nido, solo cubre la parte de la trompita de la cloaca. Todo lo de abajo queda completamente hueco, para que cuando la bebé nazca pueda respirar. Solo vamos moviendo los nidos, como ustedes pueden ver que se encuentran muy cerca del mar, que la marea sube, el foso se llena de agua, hay una descompensación en la temperatura del huevo y desafortunadamente los huevitos no eclosionan.
मेरी जर्नी चंदलाई लेक और बरखेड़ा पौंड में एक आर्टिस्ट के रूप में शुरू हुई थी, पर वो परिवर्तित होते होते एक बर्ड वाचर और बर्ड कंजर्वेटर, हैबिटेट कंजर्वेटर के रूप में आ गई। और अब मैं पिछले लगभग 2006 से लेकर के अब तक यही काम कर रहा हूँ। तो 2006 की बात है जब चंदलाई में पहली बार ये गंदा पानी एंटर हुआ था, जयपुर का सीवेज वाटर। और जब सीवेज वाटर एंटर हुआ तो बहुत सारी गंदगियाँ अपने साथ ले कर के आया। माहौल में चारों तरफ बदबू थी, चारों तरफ मच्छर कीड़े मकोड़े जो लोगों को परेशान कर रहे थे, पर एक शांति थी कि चलो पानी आया, इससे कुछ न कुछ परिवर्तन होगा। उसी दरमियान आए फ्लेमिंगोस, और वो इतनी बड़ी चिड़िया जो लाइफ में मैंने पहली बार देखी थी, खूबसूरत लगी। तो जब भी फ्री होते फ्लेमिंगो देखने के लिए बैठ जाते शांति से। फिर धीरे धीरे कुछ शिकारी आने लग गए चिड़ियाओं का शिकार करने के लिए। वो हमें समझ में आई, क्योंकि कभी गोली चलती, कभी क्या होता, कभी जाल डाला जाता। तो ऐसे चलते चलते हमने सही समय का इंतज़ार किया और सही समय तुरंत ही आ गया। थोड़ी देर में हमने उनके लाइव वीडियो शूट किए और हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स के फ्रंट पेज पर वो खबर छपी और सारे शिकारी डर लिए गए। अब जब सामने का दुश्मनी हट गया तो फिर आराम से चिड़िया बचाने का रास्ता निकल आया।
To announce the winner, may I welcome to the stage Amber Nuttall, who is actually no relation, but I was absolutely fascinated to see it, Environmental and Sustainability Director at Extreme Hangout, a climate action events platform. Amber.
This is a great honour and enormously exciting, and I shan't keep you waiting a moment longer. The winner of the 2023 Young Filmmakers Award is Guardians by Cindy Palanta from Mexico. May I have the winners on stage, please? Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
This is your award.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening to everybody. We're pretty excited to be here today. We come all the way from Mexico. And yeah, the documentary we presented is Guardians. This stands for all those people in our country, in Latin America, and globally, that don't have a voice and stand every single day and give their lives, and it's their passion to protect our environment and ecosystems that are really, really important. And also, lives are taken from them. Last 10 years, it's been like really hard to be an environmental globally, but especially in Latin America. And that's why we're here to represent those voices that aren't heard.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor. We're very grateful. 4 years ago, Cindy Planeta began as a seed of change. Today, we're very happy and honored to say that we have 40 projects all over Mexico and Chile, where we have been able to plant over 1.2 million trees. We have liberated almost 400,000 turtles to the sea. And we have also planted over 10,000 coral colonies in the Mexican shores. But most importantly, I've realized that today I see a lot of people that we together are the example of what can happen, the magic and change that can happen when we unite together. Thank you very much.
And now for our second category, the Transforming Society Award, sponsored by Ayaz Ayub Limited. Judges award this to a film that highlights initiatives or ideas for transforming society and the way we live for a more sustainable future. And the finalists are, let's have a look.
و ناس نبيدي زي نبرد برسك بردي
Namche has gone from a small village to the hub of Congo.
Every year, more than 40,000 people enters. So that brings a lot of trash and pollutions.
If we want to preserve this place, we have to act now.
I used to actually be terrified in any water where I couldn't see the bottom. Tales of monsters lurking in the deep. What are these enigmatic, crazy creatures? The first recognizable ancestors of sharks existed before trees, whereas now they could be facing collapse in a single generation. I actually think it's very hard to know just how much you love something until you lose it. Grief is the price we pay for love. The thing that drove me on this path was a pure passion for the animals themselves. I didn't start out wanting to save them because I didn't know that they needed saving or help. I realized that if we want to help save sharks, we need to make sure they have safe places to live in.
Preso una piantina di limone.
Ormai l'acqua c'è soltanto qualche ora al giorno e ci serve per far da mangiare e per lavarci.
Il mio limone è sì.
No, è ma. Niente ma.
Lo so, non è abbastanza.
Mio padre mi ha insegnato che in natura tutto è connesso e che, anche se non ce ne rendiamo conto, ciò che fa bene al pianeta fa bene anche a noi.
Lo sai che non c'è l'acqua nella fontana? L'hanno chiusa!
Sacco di prezzemolo, vedrai che mangerai una roba. Ma si è fregata il ghiaccio!
To announce the winner of the Transforming Society Award, may I welcome to the stage Asad Ayub.
Well, my name is Azad Ayub, and I'm a civil engineer, and sustainability is my passion. And on that note, I shall now try to announce the award. The winner of the Transforming
Microphone, Asad. Just put the microphone to your mouth.
The winner of the Transforming Society Short Film Award is Sagamata Next. Nice to see you.
I'm honoured to be collecting this award on behalf of the incredible team behind Sagamouth Next, who unfortunately couldn't make it here today.
Great. Very honoured. Thank you very much.
So we've already seen some exciting and inspiring film excerpts this evening, but I expect that, like me, you're wishing you could see the full film rather than just the excerpt. Well, I'm delighted to say that this year, thanks to our technology partner Rebel, you are going to be able to do just that. In fact, if I can ask you now to actually get out your phones, you can scan the QR code behind me, and that should take you to our streaming platform created by Rebel. And there you can watch all the films from the awards and some of TV's own films from our archive. So I'll just give you a second or two to do that. Please do share the platform so that we can give these films the widest possible audience and begin a dialogue with the filmmakers and the companies and individuals behind these fantastic ideas and solutions.
We're now going to move on, our third award for this evening, and that is the Women and Girls in Sustainability, a Global Perspective Award. Somebody said yes. Did you hear that? Yes. Actually, all the films are yes, but this is a very special category, absolutely. So this is awarded to the best film entry which highlights women in the front line working towards building a sustainable future. And through this category, we aim to showcase and celebrate the work and effort of women who are inspiration in the field of sustainability for everyone. I'd also say that we're also celebrating female directors in this award as well. So let's watch the finalist. Hooray!
Fighting for change politically requires faith.
We are building an army of young people to stop the climate crisis and create millions of good jobs for our generation.
Everyone wants to talk about this dispassionately, but this is the world that I will raise my kids in.
The more centrist wing is arguing that they want to maintain the status quo.
Ain't nobody gonna keep us down.
This is going to be the moonshot of our generation.
Moments of crisis crack open the window of possibility.
We just climb that mountain.
Sometimes I feel like my job is to get my hands dirty. You're not gonna trick us. Hell no.
Now is the time to leverage our power. We have tens of thousands of new people joining.
We're in the battle for the soul of the Democratic Party. Make them feel like they're going to lose their seats if they don't support this.
As long as there are people that you can poison without consequence, there will always be a loophole that the fossil fuel industry can exploit.
We're probably the first generation in civilization that treats clothes as disposable.
Our generation was the generation of faster, cheaper.
The typical Hong Kongers think that it's kind of useless to recycle because they know that the recyclables end up in the landfill.
Shockingly, over 300 tons a day is sent to the landfills just in Hong Kong.
So how can we find a sustainable path where people can enjoy new creative ideas in how they dress, but at the same time don't screw up the environment completely by rape and pillage of our natural resources?
We do things that most people don't want to do, which are things that are hard to do, and so we have enough appetite for risk to say we're going to try these things.
I went from pinch me, I can't believe this is my job, to where is the purpose in what I'm doing and what do I want to leave as a legacy for my kids.
In adverse situation, Buddha says, just keep faith. If you're doing the right thing, the right people will come and help.
The snow cover of the Himalayas in Himachal Pradesh was down by 18% in 2020. In 2021, Lahaul and Spiti received just 96 centimeters of snow, the lowest in a decade. Ancient irrigation systems which depend on snowmelt aren't working anymore. So the people of Spiti are turning to spiritual leaders and prayers.
तो करता है हाँ बर्फ ना आए बारिश नहीं आए उसी साल तो बस पूजा ही पूजा टन मना देखा के जब बर्फ ही नहीं आया तो टन मना करके थोड़े आएंगे
Para que o Parque Nacional da Gorongosa e qualquer uma outra área de conservação, principalmente em África, sobreviva, é necessário que tenhamos uma nova visão. Isso significa envolver as comunidades que vivem ao redor do parque.
Kubuda kuno ulofika kweneko kunanjijimishana.
Maria, olá. Então, Margerina, é o teu trabalho de seguir ela e o bebê. Este bebê está mal nutrido, então temos que controlar.
A maioria das pessoas que vivem ao redor do Gorongosa comem o que elas conseguem produzir. Se elas tiverem uma má colheita, elas vão passar fome.
Kulima ndisalimamba mwadidi ndisapatambo kumida samarambo tokota maminda manje pinyama bikumera basi bwela kajera tacheka bambaya nsina mana nzo tunafuna kuti afunze maneno nango pariki.
Em Moçambique, a pobreza tem sempre a cara de uma mulher. As mulheres precisam de ser empoderadas, autônomas. Isso vai mudar tudo.
To announce the Women and Girls in Sustainability, a Global Perspective Film Award, may I welcome to the stage Tony Mataru, who is co-president of the awards.
Good evening, everyone. In the spirit of inclusivity, they've asked a man to give this award. And the winners are, to the end, Rachel Lear's USA.
So unfortunately, the team at To the End couldn't be here today, so please help me in congratulating Rachel Lears and the entire team at To the End for highlighting the incredible women in the U.S. who are actually bringing real leadership to climate change and actually holding our leaders accountable to climate action. You know, the women are leading the charge right now, and it's incredible to see people like AOC and Varshini who are creating these movements and giving us all faith and hope that there's actually action that can be made in the next couple of years. So congratulations to the team.
it was a really tough call on which one we actually awarded in the end. But you know, when it comes to climate activism by young women or by the youth generally, a lot of us older people sometimes go, oh well, you know, it's just them, you know, demonstrating. But this film showed the power of the movement of particularly young women in the United States to play their role in getting Joe Biden to pass what was called the Inflation Reduction Act, right? What basically is a Green New Deal. Right? And they fought like mad, and they used the politics and everything, and the depression that they had at times, but they fought and fought and fought, and they really stood up for it. Now that is a very special story. But there was another special story as well in this category, and it's not often that the jury makes a special mention. And that really was for the film No Water, No Village by Munmum Dhaliwal, and we wanted to give that a special message. Why? Because it's a completely different film. Right, it is so different to the big one that we just awarded for the reasons I've just explained. This was about people on the front line in the Himalayas, right, facing no water, basically climate refugees. And what we like so much with these awards is when you find a solution to the problem. And this community stood up and they found their own solution to the lack of water. And I really, really hope that that carries on for them in these very difficult conditions. So let us invite to the stage to give a big round of applause No Water, No Village. Who is coming to represent them? Please come down now. We want to see you. Come on down and receive a lot of clapping and a lot of woo, woo.
And we are the center of the stage, yeah? Come on, come up here.
Thank you so much.
Well done. You weren't the winner, but you were damn close.
Thank you so much. I'm here on behalf of Moonmoon and Moonpeak Films and the team of No Water, No Village to accept this honor. It's really great to have our film, which as we describe as a team, our love letter to the Upper Himalayas, find so much love and support on such a platform. Thank you so much.
The scope and variety of the awards this year was vast for the shortlisting jury members to go through, and there were some films which lost out by very close margins. So a special mention to these films as well. We're just going to show them on screen very briefly. We have one of the filmmakers here amongst the choice from the popular Shortlist Jury Awards, the team behind Argorongosa. So can I invite Liz Perkins to the stage to present an award to the filmmaking team? Thank you.
Well, before I actually present the award, I was asked to say a few words about what the judging process was like. And all I can say was it's one of the most challenging things I've ever done. I'm almost as nervous talking about it as I'm sure that you are waiting to pick up your awards. They were truly outstanding. I know in the past that some of you have won Oscars and some of you have gone on to win BAFTAs, and I am totally sure that that will happen again. Just incredible watching and listening to what you've put out there and what you have to say. But I know you're eager to find out a bit more about our special nominees tonight. And obviously, they are our grants there. Thank you.
Thanks very much for this honour. On behalf of all the team from Gorongosa, I'd like to repeat myself and say thanks again because I'm kind of a little bit nervous. Look, our Gorongosa, I just want to thank the people that work at the park and the people that live around the park, because they're the people that let us, make the film, and they're the people that appeared in the film. And just to let you know that, Gorongosa is it's one of the best, or it's considered one of the best wildlife restoration projects in Africa, but it's also a very important part. The human development work around Gorongosa is a very important part of the restoration of the park, and it's also open to tourists, so we'd love to see you all there. Thanks very much.
Our next award is the Greener Living Short Film Award, which goes to the film that best inspires adoption of nature-based solutions to mitigate the threat of climate change and biodiversity loss. Let's see the shortlisted films.
An organization called Reef Renewal Bonaire has been restoring coral reefs around the island for over 10 years.
Our main goal is to assist the natural recovery of coral reefs using active restoration. That means that actively we propagate coral using different techniques, corals that once they are grown up get moved back to the reef.
The restoration efforts involve multiple coral species, but the majority of work has been done on two reef-building, branching corals called staghorn coral and elkhorn coral. Both species were hit hard in the 1980s by so-called white band disease and never fully recovered.
We're focusing on these two coral species for two reasons. One, because they are critically endangered, so they need our help, but also because they have a very important role on the reef. They offer shelter to a lot of different creatures. They have a very complex structure, so in the moment you lose these corals, you also lose the fish that were living there and all the other marine creatures.
If we woke up tomorrow morning and there was no nature, what would that actually mean?
At a certain point, there'll be too much risk in the system.
Nature is providing a wide range of essential services, and it's doing it for nothing.
In a nature-depleted country, simply put, we wouldn't be able to operate as a business.
Unless we see ourselves as inherently part of nature and connected to it, the environmental crises that affect us will only get worse.
This is one of the biggest opportunities that we're sitting on this century.
We need hands on deck. Whole of government, whole of society, whole of sectors together.
Human beings are amazing. When we put our mind to something, we can fix it. So I'm not worried that we can't sort these issues. I'm worried that we won't do it in time.
If you look at this soil, you can look as hard as you like, you're not really going to see any of these organisms, and that's just the nature of soil. It has hidden life in it. But what you can do is extract DNA using this technology called DNA metabarcoding. Soil is thought to be one of the most diverse terrestrial ecosystems that we know of, so this tiny tube will have quite a lot of life in it. There's three large groups that we're looking to examine: bacteria, fungi, and animals. These soil microorganisms are key to locking that carbon into the soil. We can take advantage of all of this technology and get a better understanding of what lives there, and then use that information to get an understanding of, is this management practice actually helping soil health?
To announce the winner of the Greener Living Award category, may I please welcome Victoria Brooks, one of our jury members.
Hello, it's lovely to see you all here today. This is my, I think we decided maybe 9th year involved with TVE, and I've been lucky enough to be one of the judges this year. It was such an incredible experience this year, and I have to say, having had a few years break of being on the jury, the quality of the films this year were absolutely incredible, which I'm sure you agree. So I'm very excited to announce the winner of this category, which is Save Our Wild Isles, Hungry for Change, WWF, National Trust, and RSPB.
Thank you very much. Come on, team. Hope you'll come. This was a huge team that sat behind this. This is just a snapshot of them. These films sat as part of 4 films, as you saw, that came off the back of the Wild Isles series that we made earlier this year. The charities, WWF, RSPB, the National Trust came together in sort of a fairly unique collaboration and sponsored these 4 films that were particularly targeting businesses and government to really wake up. We're at a unique point in human history where we have all of the solutions. We know all the problems we're causing, and we pretty much have all of the solutions. If you look around the world, there are incredible people doing incredible things. We have the solutions. So this film, the Hungry for Change film, looked at agriculture. It's the major cause of nature loss globally. It's the 2nd biggest cause of carbon pollution. And we have some phenomenal farmers who have come up with amazing regenerative agriculture approaches to solve it all. And so this was one 20-minute film that did a good job of highlighting that. You get 3 votes a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, to choose what food you eat. Use them wisely. Thank you.
Our 5th award for the night is the ESG in Business Short Film Award for the film that best explains how a business can help in mitigating global sustainability challenges. Let's have a look at the shortlisted films.
If we woke up tomorrow morning and there was no nature, what would that actually mean?
At a certain point, there'll be too much risk in the system.
Nature is providing a wide range of essential services, and it's doing it for nothing.
In a nature-depleted country, simply put, we wouldn't be able to operate as a business.
Unless we see ourselves as inherently part of nature and connected to it, the environmental crises that affect us will only get worse.
This is one of the biggest opportunities that we're sitting on this century.
We need hands on deck. Whole of government, whole of society, whole of sectors together.
Human beings are amazing. When we put our mind to something, we can fix it. So I'm not worried that we can't sort these issues. I'm worried that we won't do it in time.
Alternagy's environment and social impact reaches far and wide, spanning 37 villages that host its project sites. These projects have granted 78,000 households
'Households' with better access to clean and green electricity.
78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and green electricity. 78,000 households with better access to clean and gr Our environmental commitment is further demonstrated by the reduction of 880,000 tons of carbon emissions yearly, equivalent to taking 40,000 jeepneys off the road, and underscored by the planting of 151,000 trees to date. Our influence goes beyond energy initiatives, as 358,000 individuals annually visit our centers to gain invaluable insights into the benefits of clean power.
Propelled by more than 60 years in Philippine banking, RCBC, the Philippines' fifth largest bank, is forging ahead into the future, leading forward. In 2019, RCBC created its Sustainable Finance Framework. Since then, it has been making significant strides in its sustainability impacts. In 2022, RCBC combined for the first time its Sustainability Report and Impact Report into one publication, making sustainability central to its business strategy. The report also discloses RCBC's contributions to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or UN SDGs. The report also highlights these pioneering innovations of RCBC. By 2031, RCBC will have zero exposure to coal-fired power projects.
And to announce the winner of the ECG in Business Short Film Award, may I welcome to the stage Dinesh Damager, co-president of the awards.
Sure. Oh, I need the gosh, you can't see anything from here. But anyway. The winner is We Share by Timaki Lithium, Ghana.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Can I give this to you?
Yeah. Thank you very much, and what an honor and a privilege on behalf of the Tianqi Lithium and also the artists partnership with us. Thank you very much for your appreciation and also love for WeShare. As you can tell, WeShare is sort of a creative visualization using sort of simple but very unique Chinese artistic presentation, sand painting, to tell a story of who we are, what we do, and particularly really the sustainability at the heart and DNA of this global leading company in lithium material science and energy transformation. For us actually at the Tianqi Lithium, and sustainability is a business, and vice versa. And as a global leader, we have already embraced as our core value people, community, and planet positive. As you can tell, we shall tells a story, but it is a shared story of more than 2,000 Tianqi people, and our global partners and investors are really working together in sync and cooperation to build a future, better future. So with that, thank you very much, and God bless. Thank you.
So now we move on to the sixth award of the night, and some might say the most difficult category, the Documentary Impact Award. And this is to be awarded to the documentary that has had the most impact in helping build a more sustainable future for people and planet, for example, by driving political, corporate, social, or individual behavior change. Both feature and broadcast films are eligible, and the films were judged both on the quality of the storytelling as well as on evidence of their impact in driving real-world change. This was another really tough category in which it was pretty neck and neck between two films. One, a very emotional film from the marine environment, another, I can't say what the name of it is that's coming up, that was also looking at maybe the issue that's on the front line right now for many policymakers, but also companies, food companies and others, which is agriculture. And let's first look at the shortlisted films.
Imagine, trees could be growing on degraded land. Imagine, desertification could be stopped. Hundreds of millions would not have to leave their homes. Imagine, all that is needed is still there, right beneath our feet. Imagine, a whole underground forest is waiting to emerge again. Desertification is advancing at an alarming pace. People have given up. They feel like helpless victims of climate change and poverty, whose only option seems to be migration. But there is hope. Australian agronomist and alternative Nobel Prize winner Tony Rinaldo discovered a simple technique, making global regreening possible. What looks like small shrubs and bushes are actually trees, waiting for the opportunity to grow, feeding on the enormous root system that is still intact. The pruning consists in reducing the number of stems so that they can grow straight and tall.
It's embarrassingly simple. People are expecting some big scientific explanation and complex machinery and all this kind of thing. It's embarrassingly simple, but I'm not ashamed because it works.
This is made of oil. This is made of oil. This is made of oil. This is made of oil.
It can feel like you're up against something that's so massive, that's got the support of governments and people who are so much more powerful than you.
We say between 10 to 20 billion barrels of oil are still out there for us to get after. It represents a massive opportunity for us.
If all of that was found and combusted, that is a huge amount of carbon dioxide, just from, remember, the North Sea, the UK's North Sea.
I feel like I got to a point where I was so desperate about what should I do, what can I do?
I'm taking the UK government to court to pull the plug on public payments for big polluters.
We have an addiction to oil and gas in our society.
Effectively, we're living inside an oil machine. It became an engine driving forward the UK finance sector.
This is made of oil. This is made of oil.
Which means that people's pensions, savings and investments in the UK are actually invested in financing a future that no one wants to see, but no one really realises.
What career am I going to have based off of this, and where am I going to live? And what food am I going to be able to eat?
I believe that what we do over the next 5 years will determine the future of humanity for the next millennium.
What I'm about to tell you is a matter of life and death. If the soil dies, we die.
The facts have been proven. Roundup does cause cancer.
If you burrow deeply enough, there is a pipeline of money from the pesticide industry into those universities. They're getting the kind of science that money can buy.
Nature is the mother of us all. And if mama ain't happy, we're f***ed.
But there's a way to save our precious soils. It's called regeneration.
Regeneration is not just restoring the land to the state that we found it at, but actually making it better.
We have added over 96 tons of carbon per acre into our soil. Can we mitigate climate change? Absolutely.
We're going to check the underwear in the regenerative versus the conventional soybean field and see if we can tell a difference between the microbial activity.
We've eliminated insecticides, pesticides, herbicides. We are saving upwards of $400 an acre. It works out to be about $2 million a year in savings.
When I was a child, suddenly they were yelling out the screen and all the kids ran down to the seashore and there was this massive slaughter. It's just a part of any other hunting scene. It was food.
It is handmade by myself. With the wires, you cut 3 times and down in the neck. We have set to kill them.
We were not thinking so much about that blood, because we know that an animal, when it dies, it bleeds.
Before I went there, I was really expecting to see monsters, kind of. And I've met people who were normal people. It's just that they have this thing with the whales that completely twisted.
If you are used to live in nature, then it's much more natural for us than to go to the supermarket and buy something that is vacuum packed.
Hundreds of people on the beach and kids running all over the place, so excited. It was like Disneyland. There is no empathy. This is not complex, sensitive, intelligent animal with individuals who care for each other.
It's time to walk together.
Good evening to you all. Now, I am aware that speeches made by sponsors tend to fall into the trap of spending far too much time talking about themselves. Actually, if we're being really honest, sponsors just spend far too much time talking, so I'll look to keep this brief. I know you're looking forward to dinner and probably another drink at the bar. I'm also aware that some use it as a kind of state of the union, addressing issues big and small. But I did just want to take a moment to say that these are, of course, troubling times, and our thoughts go out to all those less fortunate than ourselves, wherever they may be. But tonight is about everybody on planet Earth. And although I'm here in a formal capacity, when it comes to the environment, I'm really just a dad here representing my 3 children. All 3 are under the age of 10, and I want passionately for them and their children to inhabit a functioning planet. I know I'm not alone there. We all know the risks that we have taken and continue to take with our environment. We all know that the stakes are enormous and the impact has already been vast. This event has always served as an inspiration in the face of that adversity. But where I might be in the minority is that I'm actually feeling pretty optimistic right now. And that optimism is a thread connecting many of the films submitted for these awards tonight. One of the great privileges of sponsorship was that I got early access to every film submitted, with the added benefit that I've been able to cancel my Netflix subscription off the back of it as well. And of course, there are scenes of sadness and wistfulness for a world that is already changing. Seeing, for example, the contraction of the glaciers in the Himalayas, the reduction in winter snowfall, and the impact on that local farming community is heartbreaking. But so many of the films are uplifting. Let me just tell you some really positive things that we've implemented. Not to show off, but to show what's possible. As a business, we've made huge strides in decarbonising the UK's infrastructure and housing stock. We do so by partnering with our clients, working on their assets and focusing on our own operations. And we strive to make a measurable difference. For example, this last year, we have carried out decarbonisation works on 450 buildings. Each one will save at least 4 tonnes of carbon every year. That's 54,000 tonnes of carbon over the next 30 years. And that's even before we start on next year's projects. On site, we have switched all of our diesel-run equipment to now run on hydro-treated vegetable oil, instantly reducing carbon by 90%. We have made biodiversity a priority. It's true, once upon a time in our industry, the norm was to dig first and to worry later. But we are now translocating and replanting hedgerows and preserving owls, newts and bats. We have removed thousands of kilograms of single-use plastic packaging from the environment, saving 77 tonnes of CO2 every year. Now, we are nowhere near perfect, and we have a long way to go. But our hearts and our heads are aligned. Our aim is to work with our partners to create communities that are greener, safer, and warmer. And the best thing is we're not alone. These green threads run through our industry and beyond. And look, it's absolutely true that they were kick-started by legislation. But it's also now because we are surrounded by people who share our culture and who feel the same way. What struck me as I watched the films ahead of this evening was that every single one of them deserves a similar platform to that film at the Science Museum. We have so much to take from them all. When human beings align, when we set our hearts and our heads on something, it really is incredible what we can achieve. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's involved here for all that you have done and continue to do to make our world a better place. I really do believe that together we are beginning to make a difference. Thank you. And now for the real reason that I came up on stage, to announce the winner. and that is Common Ground by Josh and Rebecca Tickle. And can I have the winners up on stage?
You're next, right? You turn around.
I'm honored to receive the award on behalf of these incredible filmmakers and who unfortunately weren't able to make it. So yeah, big round of applause for them. An incredible film, and thank you.
And now to our final award of the night, the Founders Award for Sustainability on the Big Screen. This award recognises the filmmakers who are using the power of feature-length films to engage audiences with key issues within the UN Sustainable Development Goals, economic, social and environmental. Let's look at a clip from the winning film.
Tell me about the situation in Afghanistan before you left to come here.
I don't spend much time thinking.
Why?
Too busy with my social life. Thank you.
Fortune messages. They shouldn't be too lucky. They shouldn't be too unlucky.
Some pursue happiness you created.
اینجا جای کلان است پر از انسان‌های مختلف و من نگو که هیچ وقت احساس تنهایی نمی‌کنی.
البته که میکنم.
I'm not meeting anybody.
You don't need anybody. You need someone special.
I admire people like you who have stories to tell of courage, displacement. Guess which immigrant hero I love the most? White Fang.
The dog.
Where are you from?
I'm from Afghanistan.
I've never met an Afghan before. You seem like a friendly people.
We are. I'm just not a good example.
It's okay to feel lonely sometimes. It would be very strange if people did not think about other possibilities, about other people.
یعنی که حامل کابل است و جانشان به خطر است و ما اینجا با دوست داشتن و عشق بکنیم.
Do you love yourself? Then you should say it out loud.
I love myself.
The award, I'd like to call upon Serena Marula, the founder of the awards and president of TVE, to please join us on stage. Serena. Just to give a little bit of background on these awards. First of all, a very good evening to all of you. And I can see a lot of my friends here. Thank you for supporting us every year and being here. So when we started these awards 12 years ago, even I didn't have an idea that we would reach here. It's absolutely amazing. Sharon, remember when you named them the Global Sustainability Film Awards? It just looks like yesterday. And here we are with 95 films being given for the awards and from all over the world. So I'm also very impressed with where we've actually reached. Around 6 years ago, we decided that we would also, at Cannes Film Festival, we announced these awards. And we said we should now give it to a feature film category, where we talk about the Millennium Development Goals, because sustainability of the environment is not enough unless we have equality, we have gender equality, and we think about the children and everything. So the Millennium Development Goals was what we had in mind. And I think one of the first films that won this award was Lipstick Under My Burqa, which was made by an Indian director. And then around the third or fourth year, the award went to, we had to change our mind to give it a docu-feature film, which was Octopus, My Teacher, which went on to win the Oscar after that. So it was really, really incredible where we've come today. And to judge these awards, it's quite difficult now because lots of feature films have come up with the global sustainability goals. And this year we had a very tough time because we had lots of films that were suggested. We had 12 jury members. Denise Parkinson, who's also on our board now, is the one who, please could you come up? She helps us with, finding these films and getting a wonderful jury of around 12 people now on this award. Denise, let me take the names of all of them. Come, please come and stand here. It's nice to see you. You've really been a great help in getting the films and getting these people here. So Byron James Rose is one of the jury members. Christine Haber, who's a producer in Canada, is also part of this. Govinder Singh, who's won many awards in India, is part of the jury. Meredith Brett, Paul Brett, Stephen Bernstein, Adam Rubens, Marco. I think Adam Rubens, Marco, you know them better.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they are film producers.
One's a film producer and a film director.
Marco, yeah. So the films that came up that were being mentioned were, one of them was by an Indian, very famous film producer called Dear Jassi. Dear Jassi talks about a young girl in Canada who met somebody in India and wanted to marry him, and the family murdered her. So it's a very sad film, but it's one of the shortlisted films. Then there was a Netflix series, which was absolutely amazing. We have to mention it. It was called Kala Pani, which is set in Andaman and Nicobar. And it talks about a mysterious illness and the environment. Quite an interesting series. Please watch it. And then it was Evil Does Not Exist. Evil Does Not Exist is a meditative look at the perils of a new glamping site on a quite rural community in Japan. So you can see that the films are sort of suggested from all over the world. We look at Indian films, we look at, there's a Japanese film here, and then finally the conclusion of the 12 jury members was to give the film Fremont the award tonight. And the director is here.
Yes, and as well as the distributor Modern Films and Yves Gaboreau, who brought this film to our attention.
So can we have you both on stage?
Thank you.
Babak and Yves Jalali for Fremont.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you to the TV Awards, Denise and the jury. Thank you for selecting the film. Also, thank you to Yves for giving this film a home in the UK cinemas. Even though it said Music Box there, it should have said Modern Films. My film didn't really have a great deal to do with the environment, but it did have something to do with an issue which I think has been and still is quite an issue, and that is about human displacement and immigration. And we wrote and directed it with faith in humanity, with faith in the fact that fear of otherness is nonsense. Events in the past month have severely challenged my faith in that. But regardless, we had to make this film. It's about a young Afghan woman who has come to America, used to work as a former translator, and the person who, the lead actress herself, is an Afghan refugee. She was evacuated from Afghanistan 6 months before we started filming, when the Taliban returned. She never acted, and her English was not amazing, but she showed insane courage and also talent. Her own story was not too different from the person she portrayed on the film. So, without her, this film would not have been possible, and also without the faith of the investors in the film and the producers of the film. So I want to give a big shout out to them and say thank you. And I don't know what else to say. Do you want to say something?
Just what you mentioned earlier about 10% of the budget going back to impact and sustainability for the participants in the film, I think is very relevant to what we're talking about tonight. And thank you for making the film. And we've been so pleased with audience reaction to it, including recently a BIFA nomination, which is the British Independent Film Awards.
And where can we see the film? I'll see it now.
Well, it's still playing in cinemas 2.5 months after release, but it's now available on some digital platforms, and then eventually, very soon, on all the main platforms.
So, this concludes our formal ceremony. We thank you for your presence tonight, this evening. To the guests who are joining us for our gala dinner, please join us downstairs at the Crystal Ballroom, where our team will guide you to the tables.
And to the guests who have joined us for the awards presentation, we thank you for your support and presence, and we bid you a good night and a safe journey back home. Thank you very much indeed. Goodbye.